Well, good morning, y'all. Got an overcast day. I mean, this isn't Washington weather or a good cue for a trip to Washington. I don't know what is. So, um, this video may be a really, really long video, or it might be broken up into like 2 or 3 parts because we're going to Washington. We're going to take Kendall back to his place. Well, back to my dad's place, and then my dad's going to get him home. But we're going to pick up a tractor. And this tractor's pretty old. From what I've found, it's pretty hard to find parts. So it's going to be a challenge. There's going to be a lot of research involved. I already have my hands on a factory service manual, repair diagrams, and the owner's manual in PDF. And it sounds like, I guess it's my uncle in a weird roundabout way. He's got some documents too to pass along. I have seen this tractor sitting in the back somewhere, but I couldn't tell you what it looks like. I couldn't tell you, I don't think I've ever seen it in operation, and if I did, it wasn't memorable. It wasn't something that, I used to love going over there because I got to drive the riding lawnmower or the side-by-side or whatever they had. It was an opportunity for me to get behind the wheel, and I loved that. I would do anything over there in the yard just to get the chance to drive around. When I was a kid, 13, so yeah. So there's going to be a lot of stops. I wanted to start today's video off by finishing finishing the log splitter. So I did get some fuel for that. We'll toss that in, and I just wanted to confirm that is operational. And because we set out to have the projects done by the time the tractor got here, so I could focus on that. And that's kind of running. It still needs diagnostics and tuning. The Subaru is doing great. The Dolly's ready to go, kind of. We could shave some more weight with the air system, but if I had to use it today, I could. I have some concerns about hooking it all up, but that's going to be something we deal with later. The log splitter is the one thing that was on my list that is still being a pain in my ass. So I'm going to start off today, get that thing fired up, and hopefully with fuel and all the other things that we've done to it, this thing will idle on its own, and we can dial in the air fuel ratios and stuff. And then when we get back and, in our spare time, we can start getting to work on the hydraulics. I know it's going to need a valve. There's a giant hydraulic filter, and it's going to need new fluids. And like I said, getting the motor running is only part of this project. Then getting the hydraulics functional is only part of the project as well. This thing needs basically a redesign for the way that the head slides. There's good components there, but it's also missing a lot of stuff. So, yeah, no, I'm still really happy with that. It's great metal, and I think it could go a long way for what we want. My hope is that engine, because I know there were a few clips that I edited today that engine did not sound good. Granted, it was out of fuel, but yeah, I would be stoked, absolutely thrilled, if we could get the engine to work till next spring. I got to get wood to get through the last little bit of winter here, and I need to get wood seasoned for next winter, and I'd like to use that, but I've got some complications with it. Obviously, it needs to work, so I think it'd be sweet to put an electric motor on it or something down the line as a replacement. I was going to do a Harbor Freight, but If I can do electric, that'd be sick. So the second thing on our agenda today is we're going to start packing. And we've got an array of things going on. So my main goal is to have the equipment I need to load the tractor, load the implements that come with the tractor, and get it home safely. Our ulterior motive is to get it running there and not have to use the winch to load it. I think that's kind of maybe a long lost dream, but hey, we can be hopeful, right? So definitely going to bring some tools, going to bring some carb cleaner, fresh spark plugs, electrical components or electrical diagnostic components, the jump box. I'm going to be prepared to pull like a vice grip garage where we ain't leaving until it's running. But if that doesn't work out, whatever. And see, that's where I'm like I'm going to have that whole moment or that point in time with, my dad and my Uncle Wayne and my cousin, and they're going to be helping me get this piece of equipment. And so that in itself is going to be a long part of this video, or perhaps even its own video, because they love this shit. They're big motivators to me to be doing this right now. So I want to include them whenever I can. So that is kind of the goal. For now, I'm going to get the log splitter going, and we'll figure the rest out, because I'm just rambling. Sorry. Let's do it! Alright, well, if you guys haven't seen yet, in the last video, I spent quite a bit of time working on this log splitter here at the end of the day. Diagnosing, no start conditions. It just sounded like it was out of fuel. It wasn't being... I could basically cover up the air inlet and reduce the airflow, and it would run. It would only run if the choke was closed. Like, it was such an airflow restriction, and so I know it's a air fuel ratio that's an issue. I'm getting way too much air for the fuel. All said and done, I was out of gas. So we're not going to talk about that because it's pretty embarrassing, the amount of time that we spent messing with it. But we're going to put a couple gallons in the tank now, and fingers crossed this thing starts up and purrs like a kitten. And then we'll hook the fuel lines back up through the fuel pump, since that clearly wasn't the issue, since it started spraying fuel everywhere after we moved the lines. So I'm going to see if this thing will run on fresh gas. What the fuck? I was literally just about to talk about how much I actually like these. And now you're gonna do that to me? I wonder if this is actually the new one. I just picked up a new gas can. Put them up together. There it goes. What's wrong with this damn thing? Damn, the saying they don't make them like they used to. This gas can's not even a year old, and the lid that I got on the new gas can is awful. I miss my old lid. Alright, I can confirm that there is fuel in there and the pickup is submersed. It's not a pickup, the outlet is submersed. Now, give this a little air. Would expect my fuel filter to fill up. Got a big old air bubble here. This fuel line is not in good shape. Oh shit. It's like I hear something draining, but I don't see it. Well, I'm a mess. Okay, what's the deal here? There's a high likelihood as well that this filter is so filled with varnish that it's just not going to work. So, although currently I'm getting fuel, I can hear the fuel filling the float bowl. All right. Well, of course, I would forget the jump box up at the top of the property in the Subaru, because it still needs a battery. So this is not going to work either. For a second I was thinking that was the original battery for that thing, but that's actually the battery for my backup security system. So, which I need to put that in today as well. God, I love this thing. So silly, dude. Okay, so I'm gonna turn the choke to fully closed. Otherwise, I think this thing is fine. We should have fuel in the bowl. We're still doing that. That's got to be like carb tuning though at that point, I think. Unless the fuel filter is just bad. It's running a lot longer. Don't sound great. Opening up the choke slowly. There it goes. I mean, we're still at that point. But that full-heartedly could be a fuel filter. And brainstorming, I know that the gas in there is clean, that the tank is clean. So for a moment, so we can diagnose this, I'm going to actually bypass the fuel filter by just deleting it for now. And that's going to confirm one or two things. If it does the exact same thing, we put the fuel filter back in. If it stays running, then we go buy a new fuel filter. So this is not the way to do this. This is for demonstration purposes only. Let's see. You're gonna leak, baby. Yes, you fucking are. Okay, please don't explode. Alright, choke's closed. Same thing, same exact thing. Right. It is not an issue with the fuel filter. So I can get this disastrous mess back together. That is sketchy. you're going to do it, folks, you should do it right. But if you're not going to do it right, well, at least know what you do. Or pretend you do. Screwdriver. So we've confirmed that the fuel delivery system is now effective. And I can audibly hear the float open and fuel flow through it until it closes, basically. I believe that I don't think opening the throttle body is going to be change anything, but I'll give it a little bit there. Let's see what happens. I really think it's either fuel related or it's not pulling enough. The engine itself is not pulling enough vacuum to keep it running. Okay, there's fuel in there. My hand smells of it. Maybe the adjustments I made on this really did. I just ran everything out. Dude, what the hell happened? So now there's a spark concern at this point. Suddenly. Oh, I see. We have some damaged electrical wires here. That may not be anything continuity. Let's see, this goes down to the coil. And that comes from this. Which is B positive. these. So that means that if that's B positive, then this has got to be. Oh, this goes back over to here too. Shit. See, I don't know how the 12-volt systems work on this. Or the electrical systems, rather. I realize that I do a lot of talking, mumbling, rather, when I'm working on stuff. And I know that the audio in that last video was awful. And this one probably isn't going to be any better. Howdy, camera. Because I haven't done anything to change it. So, and honestly, it'll be that way for the next couple. And I apologize. My camera has an adapter piece called a do-it-all adapter or dongle or something, and I need to get that. And then they have the little wireless like collar microphones, so that I can have it here and really hear my voice and whatnot. And I can set the camera down somewhere and be a distance away and still get good audio. Altogether, it's about $150, and it's just, there's so many projects going on. I don't know how to prioritize one over the other. So money is just going to all of this shit. We're just splurging it, trying to keep up. And so microphone's not going to happen right now. Maybe in a couple weeks, maybe in a couple days. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, bear with me. I will do my best to enunciate and keep the camera close enough. Yeah, so I'm thinking, that's not what I wanted. So I'm thinking, I have an issue here for sure. I've got a damaged wire. See if I can zoom in on that. Where is it? Right there. So that needs to get fixed for sure. This comes from, what's it called? The power source on an engine like this. Dirt bikes, small engines, they use God damn it. Small engine power source. Anyways, I got two wires that come from that, and they go out to this God, get off face track. Like when so I got this red wire that comes out of it. The two white wires come into it, and then this goes, I presumed a switch, but it went to this connector, and they were over on this side of the engine, not connected to anything, and that goes down to the coil. So the way I read it is, this is converting AC to DC current, and then I can provide power to it through this, and theoretically a switch there would shut down entirely the ignition source, and therefore it wouldn't be able to operate. That has nothing, like this switch has done nothing at this point, so I don't know. I really don't. But I know that this says it's supposed to be battery positive, so maybe I got to figure that out, fix that wire, and try again. I mean, shit. All right, so I have this grounded out. It may have an interference issue with that, the coil or the plug wire, I don't know yet. It hooks up to this switch, which goes down to the coil. That comes from the reluctor wheel. I don't know what it is. And so this is grounded out. So if this is set up how I hope and think it is, then when this switch is closed, the engine would run momentarily as long as the conditions are met. But when that's open, it should continue to run. But that's only on the assumption that this has something to do with the charging of the coil based on the rest of this shit. So we'll see.
Interesting. That's pretty well. That's pretty
Back
well.
up.
That's pretty well said.
So then that's with the switch off. Now this should be with the switch on. Same shit.
What the heck? You had it running good yesterday. Okay. That's not normal.
I wish I had an inline spark tester. I've got it. It's
And even before it turned off, it started sounding sputtery.
well, and like I was considering like maybe the fuel filter's plugged and we're running out of fuel here.
Hi, guys.
You gotta talk a little quieter though, because I'm quiet and away from the camera. Dude, I'm still under the assumption that I'm just not getting enough fuel. Maybe I should, or like it's like this is literally running out of fuel. Like it's sucking the fuel out of the hose, and it can't fill the hose back up fast enough. Maybe I need the pump now that we're here. Now that we've got it to this point, because we bypassed the fuel pump before, right? So that we could get the gravity. But all that was wrong was we were out of gas. Fucking idiot. So maybe it needs the fuel pump to have enough pressure to maintain. I don't feel like I should be having those kind of. I don't know carburetors all that well. But it's something we're going to have to learn.
You're mostly fuel injected.
I just don't know.
Oh.
This hose goes from the mechanical fuel pump to the float bowl. This is good though too, like the struggle that I'm having because I'm learning something and I'm having like it's challenging me because I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm using my knowledge in fuel, how an engine runs basically, to try to diagnose this. I think if I understood what these metering screws did, that would help. I also need to go get the voltmeter. I need to check my powers here. Because I think I'm supposed to have AC current on these outer ones. So I need to make sure that I do. And then I should have 12 volts or whatever the voltage that it outputs here. Why it would be able to run momentarily in that scenario, I don't know. Just fucking things wrecked. Just gonna put a new lead on this because all right, well, good news. It ran, and we've got it. I'm actually going to fire it up right now just to demonstrate. And I trust that it's going to start.
I hope it's gonna
This
start.
should be simple, right? Okay. I don't have to touch anything over there. Nope, not my nose. Please, God, not my nose.
Sorry.
Okay.
3,
Oh,
2, oh.
shit. Oh, this is... All right.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, but the problem is I can't fucking shut it off now. That's the best I got, is to just cover the carb right now. So I got to figure out whatever the hell this wiring is supposed to be. And I mean, we're there. We have really got it going. The muffler needs work. It needs a bracket. We need to put all the plastics or metals because it's an air-cooled motor. We need all of that ducting back on.
The hydraulics look like they're doing good.
Nope, they're awful. I need to figure out how I can shut it down. That's the thing. Because the only way I could figure it out is to just choke it. I was going to choke fuel, but then I was like, I can just choke air. And there you go. So next step on this is tidy up the wiring. Figure out how to make a kill switch basically. And kind of get everything back together. We're going to have to do kind of a control panel build because we need our start and kill and throttle controls somewhere that's accessible and together. And then, hydraulics. And I did, while it was running, I did flip the levers and it was not a good sound. I'll just say that. But it was it sounded dry. It sounded like the system had no fluid in it essentially. So I know I need to service that. It's nasty. The fluid looks as bad as the engine oil did. So yeah, we need this to be over there, and we need this to actually do something. We got to figure out how we're gonna deal with the fuel tank, how that's gonna mount, because it was just down here. Maybe it'll work now down there, but I really like having the gravity feed because, man, it makes things a lot simpler. What the fuck? That was a bat, bro.
I did not even see it.
It flew between us, dog. That was a goddamn bat.
I did see something black go by.
Jesus.
That was a bat. Holy shit.
I've been finding spiders all day in the shop. Big spiders. Big, scary looking spiders. Now I got a bat coming out at me from my backyard at fucking noon. What the hell's going on around here? I gotta do some... I'm wondering if I need to ground the coil and that's what kills it. Do I just try it, or is that a bad idea? The coil needed to be grounded out. We have some more tune-up parts like kill switches and air filters and a muffler system and everything like that. But I'm confident that this is working well enough that we can move on. So I started diving into the hydraulic side of things, and that's where things got gross. So this is the condition of the hydraulic fluid as we speak. This is in the system. And don't worry, I've already depressurized everything. I made sure that we're being as safe as possible. Like, that should not be that color. I'm sorry. When it comes to these valves here, this one should be working the lift, and when you would pull it back, it would do nothing. I mean, so what I'm guessing is there's a defective seal in the spool valve or whatever. And then this one has just had absolutely no response at all in any form or the other. But the other thing that I've noticed, and this could be just like part of the defectiveness that these are having right now, but each of these only can go in one direction, and both of these hydraulics need to go in two directions. Perhaps there's some return mechanism that I'm not aware of, but I'm going to go ahead and pull these spool valves apart. I'm going to pull this whole thing off, and then I'm going to pull this whole thing off, and then we can take it into the shop, and that's when we can kind of dive into it. At this point, I'm going to basically start prepping for my trip. We need to get the truck loaded, get tools packed. I got to remount the spare tire on the trailer, get the trailer unloaded and ready to go, pack clothes, etc., etc., etc. So, all right, so to start things off, I came out this morning to work on the log splitter, and we've made some great progress. I've done a lot of work in terms of the electrical system. We routed it back into the fuel pump. We've ensured that we have fuel in the tank, for starters, and that we have a good fuel flow. We kind of got idle set. We haven't really done any adjustments on the fueling. We determined that this converts AC voltage from that thing into DC voltage, and originally I had this wire which says battery positive routing to this switch, and then it appeared like it went to this wire, which goes down to the coils. This whole system over here, I'm pretty sure, is just for some sort of 12 volt or so system, maybe to run lights or electronics, maybe a gauge if this was supposed to be on. But we got it running, and we figured out that this wire down to the coil doesn't actually need power. It needs to be grounded. So yeah, and then we moved over to the hydraulics. Yeah, I think we're at a point where the spool valves are the next thing that need to happen, and I'm going to take them apart so that we can get these diagnosed and get our parts kind of on the way, so that we can continue this project when we get back. So, well, here we go. Spool valve RS. Fuck you, Kendall. Sit in your own damn chair. Okay. Well, we have take the linkages off. Now we've got these screws in the back, but when I was trying to those are good.
Nice.
So these bolts here hold the two, because each of these is its own spool valve, and like you can get other spool valves to go in between these. I mean, you would just have longer bolts. And
Yeah.
I mean, you could stack them as far as you want, as long as your bolt can handle it.
Mm-hmm.
But these should be two-way valves each, and I only have that. They only seem to function in one direction. So okay, this can come out. This can stay.
Doesn't brake cleaner smell delicious?
Sometimes, but sometimes it gets you just right. And it's like, oh, God. Turn around. This looks great. Watch your eyes, step away, or get eye protection. I don't care. But I told you. They're dirty. They got like sediment.
Oh, jeez.
I've got this suit on.
Oh. Wow. Those are relatively clean. And so.
So fluid that comes in and bypasses here. And when I pull it back, or push it in, it should send.
I guess we're taking it apart further.
Surprise that was long. Rotation.
Come on. Come on.
nice. Is this spring supposed to do something? Like, is this maybe my idle state? I can push it back, but I could also like pull it forward. Yeah, I don't really know what's going to happen here. So that's all the way in. My suspicion is that one of these will go. There's nothing there. Nothing. Just goes very slow. Oh, hold on right there. Is that all the way in?
Yeah. Whoa, there it is. That's all the way in.
No, come back. Okay, go the other way. No, it should be this one then. Keep going.
That's all the way out.
Dude, I'm suspicious of this spring. Let's see. It's like a 12 inch. We're getting somewhere. We have a diagnosis on the hydraulics.
About time.
The issue seems to be related to this spring. I believe that this is intended to be 2, maybe even 3 pieces plus the spring. This spring goes on the back, and it should pull, like when you put it into this position in the forward, it auto returns it back to center. So it's pulled so tightly, or this spring is so gunked up, or actually what I think is that these pieces are rusted together, and so there's no more give here. So now I'm going to try to break these apart and see if we can salvage them, and then we'll go from there. I really wish I knew where the WD-40 was. Alright, well, we did find that the self-centering springs on the back of each spool were the problem. There's a difference there. Both of these are seized